Hey guys, happy Tuesday? Yes. Happy Tuesday afternoon. Suddenly thought, what day is it today? How are you guys doing? I would love to know. So let me know in the comments if you are here with me. Please say hi. And if you've come back to watch this video after I've gone live, then please say hello as well so that I know that you came back to watch it, or give this video a like. The more people engage with the video, so in other words, like it or comment, the more Facebook shows it to other people in our group. So if you find what I'm going to be sharing with you today useful, then do interact with the video so that hopefully other people can see it too. But yeah, please say hi, and then I know that you're out there. I've had quite a nice productive day today, so yeah, feeling good, feeling like I'm organized, which is nice. Sometimes I can get a little bit kind of fly by the seat of my pants, so feeling organized is a nice feeling. Anyway, so what do I want to share with you today? So the thing that keeps popping into my head is a little bit of TA theory again. Quite enjoyed sharing that with you yesterday, so I thought let me share some more today. And this is a topic, it's called drivers, and I'm going to explain to you what that means. So based on the story that we developed about ourselves and the world when we were growing up, we tend to behave in certain ways to try and fit in, to try and be okay. So it's a little bit like as you go through your day-to-day life, there's certain drivers, that's why they're called drivers of your behavior that seem to happen outside of your awareness. In other words, there's like the subconscious push to behave in a certain way. And when you behave in that way, then it helps you feel safe. And this sounds like a good thing. If you're with me so far, like this probably sounds like a good thing, but the reason that it can be quite limiting is that these drivers, these things that are, these like almost compulsions that we have to behave in these certain ways, it feels like it's keeping us safe, but it's not really. What it's actually doing is limiting us, because we begin to believe that the only way to be safe is to behave in these ways. And when I describe, there's 5 of them, so when I describe the 5 drivers, it'll probably make a lot more sense. Okay. So remember, these are almost like rules that we subconsciously tell ourselves we have to show up in this way, and that's the only way that we will be acceptable to other people, or be safe emotionally so we won't get hurt, or we'll kind of succeed at life. But it's kind of like this it's a false story. It's not true. It's actually a bit limiting. So, and also it's almost like we're striving for something that's impossible. So yeah, let me explain them and then hopefully that'll make sense. Okay. So the first driver is called be perfect. Okay, I don't know if I'd gone all that time for you. Maybe let me know. But it was telling me that my broadcast had been paused, so I didn't know if I was still with you or not. Okay, I seem to be back now. If anyone's with me live, could you give me a like, or just let me know in the comments if it's all good now. Sorry about that. That was so strange. I was trying to press resume and it was like wasn't doing anything. Anyway. Cool. Okay, so the first driver that I was speaking about is be perfect. And this is one that I really used to identify with, not so much anymore. So people who have a be perfect driver believe that every single detail needs to be taken care of. So they are the people that like to be in control, a lot of like the team leaders or people that just generally take charge in a situation could be perfects. They could be a little bit like they're definitely perfectionist, but like a little bit OCD almost. They really believe that things have to be done a certain way and that all the details need to be taken care of. So when this is helpful is, someone who's a natural be perfect would be really good at organizing something, because they would take every little piece of detail into account, and they'd, organize, like they'd be very organized. But the way that this can be quite limiting is that if things aren't perfect, then they feel like they're failing. So a lot of be perfects really struggle to get tasks done because they're not able to complete them because they're so hung up in all the little details, in like getting everything absolutely right. And it's impossible for everything to be perfect. But that's kind of that like drive that really pushes them forward is it must be perfect, it must be perfect. So let me know if you identify with that. I know I certainly used to. I've definitely let that go a lot. So yeah, I no longer have such perfectionist tendencies. In fact, Taryn, my sister, joked with me the other day. She was cutting up something, I can't remember what, like carrots or something, and she said to me, "Oh, you would freak out if you could see these carrots. They're all different sizes." And I laughed and I was like, yeah, I would have in the past, because if you're going to cut something, just cut everything perfectly. Be perfect. Whereas now I'm much more haphazard in my cutting, as an example. So I had a laugh to myself and kind of reflected on, wow, I've come quite far. Even though that's one small thing, imagine when that plays out in like trying to create content for social media, or, even the fact that I literally just sit here and press play and talk to you without a real plan of what I'm going to be talking about is so not be perfect. So if you were a be perfect, you would probably write out a script, highlight your talking points, have it on the wall behind you, make sure you've got a ring light so that the light is perfectly positioned, like make sure that all the details are correct and perfect. Yeah, so it can be quite limiting because life is messy and it doesn't always go to plan. And so when that happens, then you tend to not feel very good, not feel very safe, feel out of control. It's not a nice feeling. So if you are a be perfect, the best kind of mantra that you could repeat to yourself is that done is better than perfect. Like, just get it done. So if you're procrastinating because you want every little thing to be right, done is better than perfect. That really helped me. And the other thing to remind yourself is that perfection is an illusion. It's not real. So let it go. In a month's time, will this thing really matter? Does it really matter how the carrots were chopped? No? Okay, then let it go. So yeah, so that's the first driver. So people try to feel in control and okay by trying to be perfect, which is impossible. So that's the first one. The second driver is please people. So again, also really identify with this one. So we tend to have like one or two which are our primary driver, and then the others like show up in bits and pieces, which is how I experience it certainly. So please people, if you have a please people driver, then it means that you're always putting other people first. And so the way that this makes you feel safe is you think that if you put other people first and you really consider them, then they're going to accept you, they're going to like you more, you're going to be validated as being a really good person, whatever the story is that goes along with it. So for me, I have this like real drive to take responsibility for other people's feelings. And it definitely goes over a boundary of what is my responsibility and what is theirs. And that's because of a very strong please people driver. And the problem with this is that A, it's impossible to please everyone, and B, you end up making yourself miserable and also making yourself really tired. Because if you're putting all your energy into what other people need and want from you, then you're not really giving yourself any time to reflect on what you need and want, or even to put that into practice. So it might feel like, obviously it's good to help people and you want to be of service in some way, but there definitely is a boundary between what is your responsibility and what is not your responsibility. So I urge you, if you have a please people driver, it's to keep reminding yourself that you have to fill your cup first and then serve from the overflow. You cannot serve from an empty cup. It's such a great metaphor. It's a bit cliched, but that's because it's true. So you cannot serve from an empty cup. So fill your cup first and then serve from the overflow, and then there's plenty to go around. Okay, so that's the please peoples. Let me know if that sounds like you. The third driver, so if anyone's only just joined us, we're talking about hidden hidden motivations we have that drive us towards certain types of behavior to make us feel like we're safe and everything's okay, and how actually what they do is they hold us back. Cool. So the third driver is Trihard. So people who have a Trihard driver, they are kind of like the creative ideas people. They look at the big picture and they go, ooh, we could do this and we could do this, and I've got all these ideas, and they're like really like high energy and kind of generally quite positive people. But the real essence of a Trihard is that they have a great idea, but they lack the attention to detail that a Be Perfect would have to see the idea to completion. So Trihards are very enthusiastic, which is great. They're very creative, which is great. They look at the big picture, which is great. So there's a lot of great things there, but how they hold themselves back is that they are so busy looking ahead that they don't look at like the steps, the practical steps to get there. But it's almost like, so their driving thing is, I have to try hard to come up with new ideas all the time, or I have to try hard to, to innovate and create and all of that. But then they don't really get there because they need to pay attention to the detail. So if you identify as, funnily enough, I've found that the less Be Perfect I am, the more Trihard I become. So as I've surrendered being like perfectionist, what I've found is that I've now kind of swung the other way, where I keep having these great ideas, but I don't execute them. I don't have the discipline to see them through. And that's a problem, because I'll miss out, on some really great ideas because I just didn't put them into action. I'm so busy planning and looking at the big picture and like having these cool ideas, I'm not doing anything with them. So if you fall into that category, then something you can remind yourself of is, what is my next step? What is the next step that I need to take today? If it's too different, if you know what the end picture looks like, but it's too difficult to write an entire plan because that's not how you're wired, then simply just look at, what is the next step? The next action I can take that's going to lead me in that direction of that awesome idea that I had. And you do that. So you try not to get too overwhelmed by the details. Just, what is the next step? The fourth driver is, where am I now? The fourth driver is Be Strong. So I also tend to have a little bit of Be Strong in me. People who have a Be Strong driver feel that they are not allowed to show their emotions, and that being vulnerable is like the worst possible thing that you could do. It's not that they have a problem with other people doing it, but they think they have to be strong for everybody around them, and that if they show emotions, it's a sign of weakness. So this could be useful if you were in a crisis situation. People who are Be Strongs are very good to have in a crisis, because they can remove emotion and they can just get on with what needs to be done, and they can take charge. And I certainly, back in my days working for a tour operator, fell into that category where I had to deal with crisis situations all the time, and I was very good at that because I could just put the emotions aside. Whereas now I tend to be a lot more in touch with the emotions, so I don't know if I'd probably deal with this stuff very differently now. So there's definitely some pluses to a Be Strong. It's not that it's all bad with any of the drivers. It's not that it's all just destructive. There's certainly some positive qualities to it, but the way that it can hold a Be Strong back is that they don't really connect with others. They don't have intimate relationships. They're scared to be vulnerable, and so because they don't bring that side of them out, it holds them back in their relationships, and having like really good connections with people. So the challenge for a Be Strong is to open up, to be really brave, to be vulnerable. So that's the thing that they could try to do more. And then the fifth driver, the fifth driver tends to go along with one of the others, but probably some of you will identify with this. It is hurry up. So people with a hurry up driver, they feel like you can't waste any time. You've got to get this done quickly. And I must say, I sometimes have a little bit of hurry up in me. And the thing that really helped was spending time with a small child. So a friend of mine he's 5 now, but from the age of about 2, I started spending quite a bit of time with him to help her out. And there is nothing that teaches you patience more than spending time with a small child. And it was a case of, if we'd be going out to the car, I'd be like, come on, hurry up, hurry. Like, I'd literally use the words, hurry up. And then you kind of stop and think to yourself, why? Why are we in such a hurry? Like, yeah, what's the rush? And it really taught me, spending time with him really taught me to slow down and be okay with taking your time to do things. So if you have a lot of hurry up in you, I'm sure that you'll identify with that, where it's like, okay, come on now, just get it done. Stop faffing around, get it done. And obviously this is useful because it can drive a project forward. It can drive things forward, and it can save you time. But it can also hold you back, because when you are rushing all the time, you can miss small details. So the work might not be as good as it could be if you just took a little bit more time. But also, especially now at home, like, the whole pace of life is really slowed down. Like, there's no rush to go, like, well, if you're working from home, if you're an essential worker, maybe it's different. But if you're still at home, there's no rush to go and sit in traffic and quick, I've got to beat rush hour, and quick, I've got to get in before the boss sees you. Like, the whole pace of life is really slowed down. So if you have a lot of Trihard in you, that could be a little bit challenging for you, because you're used to that hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. So the challenge for people who have a lot of hurry up is to try slow down and to enjoy life and just be okay with enjoying the moment and being present, because you miss a lot when you're not present. And also, it can make the people around you feel criticized if you're constantly like telling them to hurry up and get moving. It's very irritating to be rushed. And sometimes you do need to be rushed, because sometimes you have to be somewhere on time. But if you're stuck in a traffic jam, which is probably not a problem at the moment, but I'm sure we all remember being stuck in a traffic jam. There's nothing worse than like, I just need to get going, but the cars won't move. So if you have quite a lot of hurry up in you, that's really going to sap a lot of your energy and make you feel not very good. So the challenge is, be okay at slowing down and find moments in your day to just, okay. So those are the drivers. This is TA theory, transactional analysis. But what I found very helpful is that once I knew what the drivers were, and once I knew which ones I kind of leaned towards, I then had the awareness to challenge myself to show up differently. Because remember, the reason that we behave in this way, the reason we try to be perfect, or we're trying hard to get creative and find all the good ideas, or we're trying to please people, or we're trying to be strong all the time, or we're trying to hurry up and do everything at lightning speed, is because that helps us feel safe. But it's a false safety, because the thing that we're striving for is impossible to achieve. You'll never be perfect. You'll never please everybody. It's impossible to be strong emotionally all the time, because we have emotions, we're human beings, and that's okay. And sometimes you need to get vulnerable. It's impossible to do everything as quick as can be. And it's impossible to always be thinking in the future, like the Trihards, to always be thinking in the future with these grand ideas. Like, you're never going to get anywhere if that's where you always are. You need to come to the present moment and take things realistically, practically, step by step. So the thing that we're trying to achieve is impossible. And so that's why I say it's a false safety, because you don't end up feeling good about it. So I hope that this is helpful to you. If you've recognized yourself in one or more of the drivers, let me know which one stands out to you, and try to have some awareness as you go through the rest of the week of noticing when you are behaving in a way that aligns with one of the drivers. So if you notice yourself being super perfectionist, take a breath, practice the pause, take a breath, and challenge yourself to let it go. Or if you notice yourself putting someone else first, like maybe you're having a day, you're having an introvert day where you just don't want to talk to other people and your phone is ringing incessantly with people trying to talk to you. And if you have the luxury, like, if it's not for work, but if you have the luxury of, like, you don't actually have to have those conversations, like if you have the awareness that you're putting other people's needs first all the time, practice the pause, take a deep breath, and remind yourself it's okay to take time out. You don't have to talk to people if you don't have the energy or you don't want to. Have awareness. If you notice yourself kind of, having all these grand ideas but not doing anything to actually implement them, practice the pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what is the next practical step that I can take today? And then do it. If you notice yourself being strong all the time and actually you have feelings but you're denying them all the time and you're pushing them down and you're not having real conversations, if you notice yourself showing up that way, practice the pause, take a deep breath, and maybe go write them down. Maybe journal your feelings, like admit them to yourself first. Maybe that feels safer, and then go have a conversation with someone else about it. And if you notice yourself kind of rushing all the time, like practice the pause, very important. Take a deep breath and slow it down, and challenge yourself to say, like, for the next minute, I'm going to breathe, and that's all I'm going to do, and then I'll continue with this task. It's so challenging when you first start. It sounds like a simple thing to do, and it is simple, but it's not necessarily easy. It's really challenging. I remember when I used to go through Instagram stories and that Calm app, they would have sponsored ads that would come up in the story, and it would say, like, for the next 20 seconds, just breathe. And it's very inviting to just flick to the next story. And whenever I saw it, I used to challenge myself to stop for 20 seconds and breathe. And that felt like a challenge because that hurry up was quite strong within me. So I invite you to do the same and see what it does for you this week. I would love to know. So give me some feedback and let me know what you think. Cool, I am done. Sorry about the interruption to the broadcast earlier. I could see someone was with me, but I think it cut you off. So yeah, hopefully you've come back to see this, and hopefully this is all recorded and I'm not just talking to myself. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna go now. I will see you later tonight for Good Night Gratitude, and otherwise I will see you live tomorrow again. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I'm sending you so much love, and if you have any questions at all, pop them in the comments and I will come back and I will answer. Bye guys.